just squaring these blocks up. I've got one on each side of the vise. Just a touch more. There we are. That's cleaned up. I'll just shoot to the other side. And do the one on the other side. Just a touch off first. There's a touch. Quite narrow, these T-nuts, but I had enough material to make two. It was touch and go, but yeah, there was enough to make two. But they're only M5 threads in these, so the load on these is huge. So they don't have to be as long as the sort of standard ones with the M10 in. A little bit more. So typically, if I'm doing a little job like this, I like to set out the drills and what have you that I'm going to need beforehand. I've just done the one at the back. I'm just picking up on a centre drill, or picking up on a centre top I should say, just marking that to keep the drill central. I have ordered myself a set of spotting drills. Yeah, I think it was the set 3 to 10 mil, I think. I've actually been sent a couple of spotting drills as well, but they're to come up. I might have even shown them already, I'm not sure. All depends where this video fits in the grand scheme of things, or this particular part of the video. Yeah, tapping drill for M5, 4.2 millimeters. And out the other side. And then, yeah, you've probably seen me do this before. Well, I know you have. Well, you have if you've watched me before. Let's just come up a little on the head. I like to put the diameter of the thread hole in about 1 millimeter. So the thread is not at the surface, even when you put a countersink on it. I don't like the thread to be at the surface. So I'll just touch, just get that taper in, and come down. One millimeter. I mean, if you had plenty of meat to play with on something like an N10 or something, I might go in 2-3 millimeters. And then just a little chamfer on the top of the hole. That's that. I suppose you could just put a larger chamfer, I suppose, so that the thread's never going to get to surface. But yeah, I like to do it that way. It's a final little job. Just pop these out the vise. And I'll just freehand put a little chamfer on the underside. This is a single point chamfering bit with the multi-tip, like milling cutter type of chamferers or chamfering bits. Can be a bit more dangerous, but this, I mean, you know, it doesn't cut you. A couple of little chamfers on the bottom. So tap those now, and that's the two little T-nuts for clamping it down. And of course, put my drill bits away, and then I know where they are the next time I come to use them. A little box of goodies. I can be organised, honest. Right, M5 stainless Allen screws. I think they'll do 2 of those. Yeah, they're the right length as well. Okay. Yeah, I've just got these little organisers and things like fastenings, what have you. There's a variety of nuts in here from M12 down to M4, I think, or M3 even. And various stainless steel Allen bolts. I find it's something like this, M6 by 30, and I think these are M5 25. Sort of thing you use a lot of, you know, when you're building small bits and bobs. I got some M4s in a bag here, some M3s, you know, by 10, 15 mil, that sort of idea. Grub screws, M5s by 20. What are these? Oh, these are out of the... What did I use these for? These are M6. Might have been quick change tool... no. Quick change tool holders? Possibly. Anyway, yeah, I'd sort of... If I do order them, bag of 100. And I think this was probably 200, and I think that was probably 200 as well. But yeah, I mean, you know, you can order individual ones on eBay or whatever, you know, 10 screws for 3-4 quid. Whereas for 10, 11 pound, you can have 200 of them if you buy them online. I think these, not sure, I think they're from Zorro. Good for fastenings, as long as you want to buy a bag full. Just making a quick little tool here. Not much of a tool, I know, but... drilling a 6mm hole through this piece of 01. It's going to be a little tapping guide, just to make sure that when I'm tapping the little plate, that I'm pretty much square. I don't use a tapping guide as a rule. I don't. No, I use a rule as a rule. I have tapped. How many holes have I tapped in my life? Oh, I shudder to think. Well, I'm not actually shuddering at the moment, but is it 100,000? Is it 50,000? I don't know. It's certainly a hell of a lot. I'll put a bit of a chamfer on that hole. Okay. Yeah, I don't normally use one. If you tapped a lot of holes in your life, you pretty much can get the feel for squareness. So I don't tap wonky holes, but as I've got a hell of a lot to do here, and I do want them to be straight, I've just made a little plate. What is this, about 14mm thick gauge plate. Again, a piece of 01 that's had a former life, but I'm going to use it for basically a tap guide. So I'll show you how that works. So you've got a bit of an overhead view here. I know it's a bit unorthodox. So yeah, I mean, basically that just is just scratching the surface. And yeah, the tap is in there. It can be nothing but square. It's in my guide. Okay. So I'll pick a hole, this one here, which hasn't been tapped. I'll just... Can't quite, it's just biting in the guide. Right, okay. Now that is just picked up in the pilot of the underside or of the plate. So the tap is just touching it. And I've held this square. So I'm just going to G-clamp, little G-clamp on the back, use a tool maker's clamp, could use anything, and start to tap. Actually didn't put any compound on that tap. It's got a lot of work to do. So a little bit of cutting compound on the tap. Oop. Probably could have opened that hole up just a little. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So yeah, I tend to do half, one full turn back, you'll feel the chips break, and then one full turn back to where we were, 1, 2, back 1. You get the picture. And I think we're just, yes we are, we're out the other side. Okay. That's that hole tapped. Just clean the tap off, loosen the clamp, remove the clamp, move to the next hole. I'm not going to do these four holes here are blind. They're going into the tenon underneath. I will remove the tenon and then tap those later. So again, just run that down through the tap guide. It's just scratching a thread in there. I can feel it. It's just there. It's just picked up on the taper of the tap. Clamp the bar in position. And I haven't put fluid on again. Not to worry. I think there was enough left on it. You get the picture. I'm nearly halfway across the plate now. So yeah, one full turn I'm doing, and reverse. I feel the chips break. It's normally about half a turn. And yeah, we're breaking through the other side. And that just keeps the tap nice and square as you tap in the holes. I mean, you could make a little jig up with several holes in, you know, for M3, M4, M5, M6, whatever thread you're doing. But yeah, it's purely fairly tough piece of steel. This tap is actually, I can feel it scratching. It's almost got a thread in it. I could probably pull that out of there, but it's almost got a thread in it. But yeah, I mean, it works a treat. Oh, I've already done that one. Anyway, so yeah, quick, simple, cheap and cheerful lump of steel to make a guide for lining up the tap nice and square. So tap wrenches, just as subject. I've got a bit of a collection here. I've just pulled out various sizes. I have got more, but we'll start with these. Two styles. You've got the T-type. I use this for sort of pretty much M6, M8, and it's got a split collet on the end, which it will go down to an M6, and it will go up as far as an M10, but there's probably not enough torque in it unless we're just cleaning out a thread for the M10. And the amount of leverage on this, well, it's about 100 mil, about 4 inches across the top of the handle. Again, a couple more here, 4-inch long. I typically use these small ones for taps, well, very small taps, up to about M5 perhaps. Yeah, M6, I would go up to this one here, which is, well, it's actually just over 6 inches long. And I'd use this one for M6, M8 perhaps. M8, M10, I go up to this one, which is probably about 10 inches long. I made this myself as an apprentice. Yeah, it needs a bit of love. Again, I made it out of 01. It's two identical pieces. Clearance hole here, tapped hole there. This one has tapped hole here and clearance hole there. So the two identical pieces, couple of bolts. And yeah, quick, simple little tap wrench. Might make a nice little project on the lathe. Yeah, great fun little project to make that. Then I go up to one I'd use for probably M10 up to M12, you know, sort of half-inch size, 3/8 half-inch, and that's 15 inches long. I've had this a long time. I have talked about it before. It's a Chatwin tap wrench. It was government issue, and it's stamped with the War Department somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. I'd have to find it, but it is stamped. It was War Department issue during the Second World War, and I think it's dated 1944. So yeah, I mean, I was given this as an apprentice by somebody, and yeah, I've had it ever since. So it's done a lot of work. Okay. And a recent sort of car boot find is another Chatwin one here. Again, it needs a bit of work. And the overall length of that one is 550 mil, 21.5 inches near enough. Yeah, M12, probably up to M20 would be absolutely fine for this, what I call a beast of a tap wrench. It's nowhere near A-bomb size, shall we say, but yeah. I haven't had to use it yet in the workshop, but when I saw it in a sort of car boot sale, that sort of thing, I couldn't leave it, as it's another Chatwin. It's a big brother to this one I have had, yeah, probably 40 years. So, yeah, a little collection of tap wrenches. But the smaller the tap that you're using, the shorter the handle. You get a better feel, and obviously as you get bigger, you can use a bigger tap wrench, gives you the force and the leverage, as it were, that you're going to need. So I've cut myself a couple of pieces of 01 gauge plate here, 4mm thick. I've squared up the two sides, basically cut them off with a cut-off wheel. I've machined that one up 4 sides, in fact. This is the second one, so just squaring up the ends. Now these are going to be the little clamps, or the start of some of the smaller clamps for the tooling plate. Let's just get that going. Just a little touch off. Okay. So yeah, just squaring up the ends. So I'm basically going to cut 2 of these off. I cut one off either end of these. I may just get 3 out of a piece of plate, but at least the one end of the first 2 cut off are already machined. Okay, so I think we're going to go for a 30mm length on these, so I'll chop 30mm off, probably either end. I think I'll get 3 out of them. What are they? Yeah, about 97mm long. Yeah, I'll probably aim at like 32mm. That'll give me 96, it might be a bit much. I'll aim at sawing them off at 31mm, and I know I'm not going to run out of material. So yeah, I haven't got a slitting wheel or anything like that, so when all this is over, I'll probably order one and get it delivered. So let's get on, cut the 2 ends off, 2 pieces 31mm long off either end of these, and yeah, carry on making them. Oops-a-daisy. There we are. That's the 4 cuts, and I got 6 of those. Oh. Pop that one out, that's that one done. And one more to do, where is it? It's there. And I'm just using the calipers as a rough depth gauge. I've got the calipers locked. I set the first one, machined it to length with the one end done, so I can just hold that there, basically locked into the same depth from the back of the vise as all the others. And then I haven't moved the setting for the table, so I can just machine that off. In fact, that one's a little bit longer. Oh, I forgot, I did move the table. I moved it 1/2 mil back into my 1/2 mil there. Okay, it's cleaned up most of the way across. I'm going to put a radius on there afterwards anyway, but it's just got me in the ballpark for length. Okay, so I've got basically 6 of these now. Where are we? That handle is a pain. It's always in the way of my shot, and it always, when the head's up, which is where I like to machine, that handle's always coming across shot. I may remove that handle. In fact, I think I will. Hang on, well, why not do it now? What size? Oh, that's handy. Okay. Let's take that out of the way. Is that better? Yeah. I mean, it's only 50 mil round anyway. Yeah, I'm sure. We'll see how we get on. Okay, so yeah, 6 of those done. Let me just come back out of the way. 6 of those. 3 of them are slightly wider than the others, about 1 mil wider, but I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to probably grab the 3 slim ones, which are... That's a slim one, that's a slim one. Yeah, I got 3 slim ones and 3 slightly wider, so I'll grab the 3 slim ones, set those up for drilling. There's going to be a 6 mil clearance hole. In fact, I can use my new spotting drills. 6 mil clearance hole one end, and the other end, well, quite close to one end, and then up towards the other end is going to be a 5 mil hole. Again, I can use the spotting drill for an M6 thread. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. A 6 mil clearance hole, and then it's going to be a 5 mil tapped hole, M5 tapped. So yeah, I'll have to get a 4.2 out for that. So I needed a temporary little stop to push these blocks up to. So I was looking, what have I got that's about the right height? And my other vise. So I've just put a single clamp on the other vise, about 10 millimeters off the end of this vise. And that means, let me just show, I've got a parallel in there. I've got one of these little blocks. I can just drop it in, push it up to that stop, holding it firmly down, lock it in the vise. There we go. And now I can pick up the centre and drill my 6 mil clearance hole in there, ready for the 6 mil bolt that's going to hold it on the tooling plate. On the milling pallet. No, mini pallet. On the tooling plate. I'm going to stick with my tooling plate. I like that. It's a good opportunity to use my new edge finder. I'll just bring it down. I'm going to touch off on the face of the vise here. It's got a 4mm diameter on the end, and the higher one is a 10. Just measured them up. Oh, there, it just kicked. Okay. So, I want to come 12mm from the end of the part. I'm already 2, so a further 10 mil. Let's just take the backlash out. Okay. That's 3, 6, 9, and a further mil. That's 10 mil back, and that will have given me 12mm in from the end to the centre of my hole. Now, where are we? Can I get down? Ugh. I want to pick up the edge of the vise. Let's just fine feed down, I think. Yeah, we just off the surface. I should be able to pick up the edge of this vise now. There. Backlash removed. I'll just set to 0. I want to measure how wide that part is. I don't know which one of the two I've got there. Okay, calipers. Calipers. Can never find them when you want them, and they're always in the way when you don't. Oh, I can just get on there. I think we should be... In fact, if I grab one of the others, it's easier to measure. 11.6. So, I'm already 2. Half of 11.6 is 5.5. 5.8, yeah? Yes, 5.8. I'm already 2 mil, so 3.8. So one turn is 3 mil, 3.5, 3.6, 3.75, 3.8. Lock off there. So the centre of my spindle is now where I want the first set of holes to be. So I can just pop that out of it. Thank you, Lee. Dalton Engineering. Works the trick. Right, so 6 mil spotting drill now. See if I can find it. There we are, my 6 by 90 degree spotting drill. So I should be able to just pop this straight through. And that'll be a 6 mil hole. Just check my parallel. Yep, the parallel's out the way. So I should be able to just pop that hole through, and I will try a bolt in it to see if it fits. So let's just try that. Hopefully I've got enough travel here. Yeah, that seems to work nicely. It held its centre really well. These are high-speed seal cobalt. And there we go. So have I got a 6 mil screw to hand? Bound to have. I'm always using them. Again, it's one of those things where when you don't want it, you're tripping over them. Okay. Right, dug out the 6 mil screw. Oh, it does fit in there nicely. Okay, right. So that's that one done. So let's just clean up around here. Pop that one out. Pop his brother in, up to the stop. Just pull my parallel back out of the way a bit and drill another one. Just being kind to it while it's just a point. Okay, you get the picture. I'll do all 6 and then I'll step back. Again, coming from the stop, I'll step back and do the hole for the M5, the M5 tapped hole. So I've just loosely pushed these dowels in here. So the plan looks something like this. I mean, I can use these little clamps. They've got an M5 jacking screw in the back and an M6 to pull them down. And as you can imagine, you know, I can jiggle them about, wriggle them about. And let's say, for instance, I was clamping this T-nut. Oops. I've adjusted the rear screw to be around about the correct height. And yeah, basically, I can put a clamp both sides or on top or anywhere I like and clamp down a T-nut at an angle, in a straight line, wherever I like. For instance, if I wanted it in a straight line, hence why I've put the 2 dowels in. I could use a parallel there, push my part back against the parallel. Obviously there's going to be a bit of alteration to the shape of the end of these to make them better. But yeah, I mean, I can basically put one there, I can put one on the other side, and I can clamp them down in a straight line and do milling, profiling, whatever I want. I can then take the parallel out, pop the dowels out, do something on the side, what have you. Okay, so that said, on the same note, because of the way I've configured the holes, where, say, this dowel hole, and these two, they're all 20mm apart. Was it 20? I can't remember now. Yeah, I think it was. No, it was more than that. Let me remember. It might have been 30. Oh, it was 20mm apart. They're 20mm that way, 20mm that way. So by the nature of that, in fact, I do need to get myself some extractable dowels, or... Oh, I can get it out. Yeah, okay. So say, for instance, I put... I'm not going to tap them down in. Put a couple of dowels in there, and they'd be short ones with a little thread in the end, and I'll make a little extractor for them, but that's another story. I can put a parallel there, push the parallel back against the pins there, use my clamp again, holding back against the parallel, make sure I'm not getting in your way here, and, oh, I can't do it quite like that. No, I have got a plan. What's happening here is the M5 bolt is dropping down the 6mm dowel hole here. So just have to angle it out, but I have got a recovery plan for that. But you get the general idea. I'll show you that recovery plan. So yeah, that block is now set up at a 45-degree angle. So if I wanted to machine the corners, something like that, at 45 degrees, I've got that as well. So, okay, these are... Yeah, I'm just going to have to play and polish these dowel holes a little. And these aren't perfect dowels, but they're pretty good. So yeah, as you can see, another clamp on this side. And I could set something up at 45 degrees. Again, I could tilt the vise. You know, there's all sorts of things. I can tip the plate up at an angle. That sort of idea. And that will give me compound angles, 45 at an angle, that sort of idea. So yeah, it's quite a versatile little thing. I have sort of started to lap, it's my phone dinging, started to lap the top of it. So yeah, having done that, I thought, well, I don't want the bottom of this screw marking this plate. So I have come up with a plan. Where's my sketch? Oh yeah, a bit of a sketch anyway. A few ideas, sort of ideas in motion. Yeah, where the clamp is there, I think perhaps a ball end on the end of the M5. I machine a ball end on it. And perhaps some little brass plates, something like this profile. I first thought of captivating the brass plates using an O-ring, that sort of idea. But I think that's maybe a little over the top. And I don't want it that thick, really, because I want to be able to clamp these down quite low. So maybe a 2mm thick sort of brass washer, if you imagine. Maybe I'll make them look nice, you know, this sort of idea. With a ball-shaped dimple in the end of them. So when I'm clamping up, I'll be able to just slip one of these little brass plates underneath when I do up the little clamp plate here on the back. So yeah, it's coming together. Obviously, I'm going to finger shape the ends of these clamps. That will allow me to get in more. I'll probably radius the back edges as well, or 45 degrees them. I'll probably put chamfers on them. You know what I'm like with that sort of thing. It's got to look nice as well as be functional. But anyway, as you can see, it's coming along and we're getting there. I basically draw filed the top of this to get rid of the machining marks. Brand new file, a great big one, about 14-inch long file. Draw filed that over. I basically just Scotch brighted it then to take out any, you know, filing marks, but only likely. I will be lapping this on some wet and dry on my my surface plate. I'm sure you've all seen my surface plate, but yeah, having just filmed that little clip, it's got me thinking, now this is getting dangerous. Okay, so if you've got 2 pins there in that straight plane, I know, as we just said, that's 45 degrees because I've travelled across exactly the same amount as I've travelled up. So I can put a parallel against there and against there, and yeah, we're going to be at 45 degrees. Okay. 1, 2, 3 gaps, 1, 2, 3 gaps. So if that's 0 degrees and I've got 3 steps to get to 45, then if I take that pin out of there, I'm not pushing these down in, I'm just starting them. That would be 30 degrees. And that would be 15 degrees. So already I've got the options just by using 3 gaps of 0 degrees, 15, 30, 45. Right, if I just use 3 holes and I come back one, that's 45, that's 0, so the middle is going to be 22.5 degrees. I think the possibilities are endless here. I'm going to have to do a chart, so I'm going to keep thinking about it. So you quite often see when I'm on the mill and just getting used to having a mill to start with, but you'll see this happening all the time, the arm coming in the way and, you know, all this sort of thing as I'm doing handles. I've just got a little setup here using the table and my little drill press, and I got one of the, you know, my little universal vise, but the shoe on the camera fits in there, and I can pretty much point it into the back of the mill, and it keeps me out of the way. Or I've done a few shots with it now, you probably haven't seen them yet, but it keeps my arm out of the way because it's back and I'm not trying to film over my shoulder from this sort of direction. So yeah, that's it was like, what have I got? I was thinking of making something and whatever, and I thought, hang on a minute. And obviously with this thing, yeah, I can sort of, you know, move it all around, have a bit of a play with it. But yeah, it's just something I came up with, a use for that vise, which I don't use that often unless I'm sort of dressing small little items up. Here we are, quick, simple, done. 6 of those, all ready to roll. There we are, 6 of them. They look pretty. Just to show you where I am with the tooling plate as we stand. These 3 are spare clamps, taking notice of these 3. Yeah, I mean, basically, I've set a little parallel up on 2 dowel pins at a 45-degree angle. Brought it back, clamped them down with these 2 clamps. You can see the little feet that I made. If this little black piece here were the work piece, I could then, you know, cut, machine, what have you. I got a clamp on top of that. I put an end stop in with a dowel here. These dowels, obviously, these are just temporary, just for sampling, just for messing about. I'm going to attempt, I'm going to cut them in half, try machining them, and see how easy they are to drill. I know they're case hardened, but it depends how deep the case is, really. But I'm wondering if I can, like, drill and tap the centre of them, like 3mm M3, and then perhaps make a little dowel extractor. So if I tap them down in, I can then get them back out without having to move the plate and tap them from underneath. So that's where we are with that. Well, there we are, guys. That's the finished article. As you can see, the little noses on the end of each clamp, the bolts, the little jacking feet underneath with the little ball holes in them, as I showed. The T-nuts are here. I've chemical blued these. Yeah, very happy how it's turned out. I'm sure I'm going to make lots of little adaptations, maybe some bridge clamps, backstops so that go on dowels, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's pretty much all done now. The cam itself. Basically, it's going to be an eccentric circle on the end of what I'm calling this the cam. An eccentric try again, eh? Once again, thank you so much for watching, and for all the support I've had so far. And if you're new, don't forget to can you hear that? Well, hi there, and welcome to Wade's Workshop. Hi there, and welcome to Wade's Workshop. Today we're going to be machining and fitting an ER32 chuck to fit onto my Walker W18. Carling water, anyway. So, I've been given this bottle, which has got 750 fill? No. 750 mil. Mifty fill.